Welcome to Fantasy Blitz. I am Nick.
And I'm sick.
And our TV doesn't work right now. But you know what? We're going to soldier on because we've got some things to talk about after this completely awful and mediocre week of week 6 football.
Man, tell me about it. I feel like I wasted my weekend watching football.
Yeah, there was joy, there was pain. There was mostly just awkward pillow talk.
Mediocrity the entire week.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to the Browns, shout out to the Jets, shout out to the Raiders for winning a must-win against the worst team in the NFL right now.
True.
In the most ugly way fashion.
Yeah, literally outside of the Jets and Browns games, everything else sucked. And if you watch those games, they weren't very fun to watch. I mean, the Jets game ended really nice, but 75% of it, I was like, okay.
Yeah, the Chargers game went exactly the way I thought it was going to go, but I was hoping the Cardinals would not completely roll over.
Dude.
And they did.
Yeah, they did for sure. Rams looked incredible that game. So, But yeah, the Chargers chargered really hard last night.
Yep.
And I was really hoping they were going to beat the Cowboys, just because I think the Cowboys are somewhat of frauds, and the Chargers are bigger frauds. So
they are the frauds of the NFL.
Anyways, let's get into this thing.
Yeah. Let's do it. So first up, we've got a gigantic bye week.
Oh, it's huge.
Are we able to see that on the screen, BJ?
The first slide.
The first slide. It's okay. This is our first time out with BJ.
Yeah, we got a new operator right now. Eli's going to be coming back. He was just busy
Don't
today.
worry, and then we'll have something to look at on the screen.
Yeah. Can we actually get it? He's doing something. He's doing something over there. It's finagling.
You have to actually click it on there. Yeah.
There we go.
There it is. Look, teams on bye. We're gonna leave all that in. So this is the biggest bye week of the year, right?
Dude, this sucks.
Yeah, this is awful.
I have 6 players on bye this week.
You should look. Okay, here we go. If we can look at my laptop, look at Fantasy Blitz Nick. This is my team.
Yeah.
This is our crappy internet too.
Yeah, this is a tough technical show today.
Yeah.
However, we do have a new middle light, so if we look great on camera.
That's probably why.
Yeah.
Okay, so
it says week 6 down there too.
Oh man, we have failed.
Shit.
We have failed.
This is a horrible episode.
That's okay. BJ can actually change it on the fly. You should just do it live.
Yeah.
Oh, it kicked me out of my ESPN account. Great.
Anyways,
this is going really
everybody's on bye. All of the fun players, meaning none of the fun players besides Jamar Chase and CeeDee Lamb are on bye.
Yeah. Derrick Henry's on bye, which is annoying.
Derrick Henry's on bye. I just traded for Derrick Henry and Joe Mixon in one of my leagues last week, and they were fun this week, and then immediately on bye.
Yeah.
So I have no running backs this week. I'm rolling out Jalen Warren and Zach Evans. It's going to be a fun one. But yeah, just try and hold out this week through buys. We're going to talk you through some waiver options here. It's thin. It's real thin.
It's tough. It's a tough week.
The trade targets are pretty thin as well. I'm not super confident on any of those, but I mean, we may as well just jump right into these waivers.
Yeah, hang on though. We got Stroud Boys.
Oh yeah, shout out.
Stroud Boys represent. Okay, he's on break. He's coming back. So this is going to be amazing. So Stroud Boys represent. Let's move it. Oh yeah, but first you got to like and subscribe. Pay the toll on your way in. Like and subscribe to the channel. Appreciate all you folks, you he hims and you she hers for showing up and showing out for Fantasy Blitz. Yeah, the Thursday night game is Kansas City. It's what is the morning
Jacksonville,
game?
New Orleans Thursday night. Yeah.
Jacksonville, New Orleans.
Anyways, I'm gonna jump into waivers.
Do it.
You know,
Zach Evans.
I got about 30% left in me already.
I'm getting him. I'm getting Zach Evans.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna shoot for him too, just because the Rams look so good, and no Kyron Williams. Probably not this week, and no Ronnie Rivers this week. He has I believe it was a MCL sprain or something like that. He's gonna be out for a while. Kyron Williams will probably miss this week. So I'm rolling out Zach Evans because they love to use their running back, and their offense has been looking hot, and I'm happy with it. I think I'd be comfortable spending 20% of my fab on him in 12-team leagues. So he's not amazing, and he's not going to blow anybody's doors off, but he's going to be good enough, I think, for a bye week fill-in or just somebody that you need for depth. I like it. And then another guy that's not going to blow anybody's doors off, actually 3 guys in a row that aren't going to blow any doors off here, is Jordan Mason starting us off, which is the third-string running back for the 49ers.
Yep.
And he might be the first man up right now because Christian McCaffrey is out, not officially out, but probably out this week, should be out this week, based on what happened to him in the Browns game. So that leaves Jordan Mason to now be the only 100% healthy back, and he looked actually decent a couple weeks ago. So I'm not super worried about him either. I don't think he's going to be incredible, but he could be a guy that'll go out there and get you 10 points when you need it on a bye week. And the issue that we're seeing with these 49ers running backs comes with the next guy, Elijah Mitchell. Now, I'd pick up either one of these because right now we don't really know who the starter is going to be.
I've heard it's going to be Elijah Mitchell.
That's what I've heard as well.
Yeah.
But Elijah Mitchell's coming off an injury, and Jordan Mason has looked decent. So I could totally see this being a Shanahan situation where he rolls out, either only one of them or rolls out both of them, and they both, get really bad work. But either way, you got to pick up one of them, try on both of them, whatever.
It's a tough week for CMC holders.
It's real tough.
Yep.
It's real tough, and there's really not a clear option for who to fill in. So just try and grab one of them. They're on a 49ers offense, you want whoever is going to be the lead back, even if it's in a committee. I would just, any of them. And then speaking of committee, a committee of wide receivers on the Chiefs.
Rashee Rice.
Yeah, Rashee Rice. He's kind of emerging as maybe the number one.
He's the most
receiver.
targeted wide receiver. So I guess by default, if you have the most targets, you're WR1.
Yeah, I think technically, yeah. And he was fine this week.
Yep.
He had what? How many yards did he have?
He had 72. Can you pull up my game log on? Is that working?
Yeah, it's
Sweet.
72 yards. That's not bad at all, especially considering what all the other wide receivers have been doing.
But 4 targets. That's scary.
It is.
That's scary.
It is. But in a Patrick Mahomes-led offense, and you get their technically number one guy on, and you're probably using him as a bye week fill-in.
Yep.
That's not bad. And I think I would try and shoot for him and grab him.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Kansas City Chiefs are playing with 15 men on the field because they have all the refs on their side. So he's going to get those DPIs. And it's going to happen. So Rashee Rice looking pretty good as a deep pick. If like half your team, like mine, is on bye.
Yeah,
if Nico Collins is on bye, which he is, it's not a bad time to get Rashee Rice.
No, it's not. And actually, my number one waiver target right now, who I would imagine is taken in most leagues, is Joshua Palmer. And this is sort of a recent number one because I watched the Chargers and Cowboys game last night. He was like very, very heavily targeted last night and got a bunch of really high quality looks. Had a really nice long touchdown taken away from a penalty. Almost caught another touchdown that was smacked away at the very last second. Like, he was close to a very big game, like very big. And Justin Herbert, that was probably the worst I've ever seen him play.
Yep.
And Joshua Palmer was still really decent, and he's been really decent every week that Mike Williams has been out, and Mike Williams is going to be out for the rest of the year.
Yep.
So if Josh Palmer's available and you can have him sitting on your bench or even filling in your flex spot somewhere, I would even he gets close to wide receiver 2 performances on some of these, and he gets wide receiver 2 looks. He looked great last night. I would love to have him. He's already taken in majority of my leagues, but if he's there, which he is in some, I think it was 30 or 40% rostered.
That's pretty crazy.
I would grab him.
We've been talking about Josh Palmer a couple weeks now.
Yeah, we brought him up a couple times. He just looks good, and I mean, Quentin Johnson has been non-existent.
Yeah,
he was their big talked about rookie. And
huge.
Huge. He's been non-existent. I think he had a target last night. One in a game where Herbert was throwing the ball 40 times or whatever.
Yeah, he's balling out, but didn't go anywhere. By the way, Kansas City is playing the Chargers.
Oh, that's going to be good.
Yeah. Probably a shootout, but you know what? Every single shootout that I've called is just not... The shootouts have not happened in normal NFL fashion. It's been, hey, the Dolphins put up 70 points, but it's not like
Cowboys game. Last night's game should have been a shootout.
It should have, yeah, and it was a dud. And I will shout out to my prediction that the Jets were going to have a great game. I knew they were going to have a great game. Something has changed in the Jets franchise. Everyone's talking about them right now. So they're playing with, I heard this morning on Good Morning Football, they're playing with not just a chip on their shoulder, a boulder on their shoulder.
Oh yeah.
So something's changed there. So
they're fighting. I like to see it. Breece Hall. I think when we get to the trade targets, you'll see some.
Oh yeah. Familiar names.
Some stuff in there. We'll talk about him a little bit. But finishing out the waiver targets, I do like the Jets, but finishing out the waiver targets is Craig Reynolds, which is not a fun one to talk about, but he is officially their only healthy back right now. I think people are assuming Jahmyr Gibbs is going to get all the work, but man, the Lions hate Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't know what it is, but they hate him. So I would not be surprised to see this be like a 50-50 split between Craig Reynolds and Jahmyr Gibbs in that backfield. It ain't going to be pretty, but the Lions have been really good on the ground recently, and I think they are going to continue to use their running backs a lot. Who that's going to be, keep an eye on it. Kind of the same thing as the 49ers situation. Both those guys are going to be really valuable positions, but who knows who it's going to be. I I'm leaning, my gut is telling me Craig Reynolds just because for whatever reason they don't like Jahmyr Gibbs, but I think it'll be close to 50-50.
Gosh, this is going to be a tough game because they're going against the Ravens at home.
It'll be good.
It's going to be this one again, another one of those knife fights. Now look, the Lions are one of the most fun teams to watch because they're so scrappy and they're playing with so much passion. I wouldn't be surprised to see Craig Reynolds continue to accelerate in his usage. I mean, right now he's averaging about 3.7 yards per carry. Most of that has been juiced on a game where he had a 19-yard long. Other than that, he's been pretty middle of the road.
Yeah,
but
he's been in the third string.
So keep an eye out. This will be a real test against the Ravens.
Yeah, for sure. It for sure will. But the Lions can make something happen.
Yep.
That's what they've been doing.
If
you need a tight end, I'm sorry, it's really bad for tight ends right now. Luke Musgraves is about as good as it's going to get.
Yeah.
Packers rookie tight end. He is getting the tight end 1 reps for the Packers and is getting a decent amount of looks, a decent amount of targets.
Yep.
Looks pretty good. Nothing, incredible. That's kind of the vibe of the day for waivers is not incredible. But Luke Musgraves is decent enough to put up some serviceable tight end numbers if you really need somebody. And I'm sorry if you really do right now. The tight end market's just so bad.
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing with the quarterback market.
Well, hang on a second. What about Jonnu Smith? Are we bearish on him now?
Yeah, but I think he may have ascended just out of waiverable.
Okay.
Just because the tight end market's so bad right now. I think he may have popped just out of the waiver market. If Jonnu Smith is there, I'd love him. I think it could be an easy one this week. Jordan Love for quarterback.
Here he is. We got him.
Against the Denver Broncos. That's a pretty good matchup. That's a really good matchup.
It's really been the only consistent matchup of the entire season has been who is playing the Broncos, and they're going to do well. Unless you're the Bears. But the Bears, I mean, you're always going to wonder, are the Bears going to show out or fall apart this week?
And you never know.
I think with the Packers, there's just more upside to it.
Yep.
I mean, look, when Jordan Love is bad, he's bad.
Yes.
When Jordan Love is great, he's mediocre.
Yeah. Which for a young quarterback and somebody that you need to fill in. Yep, somebody that's not CJ Stroud. But he should have Christian Watson. He should have Aaron Jones fully healthy. The roster is going to be there. We're coming off a bye week. I say I'm a big Packers fan.
Yeah, he's Packers.
If you're new here.
He's a Packers homer.
Oh, yeah. We're coming off a bye week. Should be rested. Should be healthier. Kind of self-scouting after whatever the hell happened last week. I don't hate him this week. I think we start to see the Packers sort of return to mediocrity.
I hope so. He hasn't even broken 300 yards in a game this year.
Which I'm not surprised at. I'm really not. I mean, the Packers, he's young. We don't have, elite receivers.
Yeah, I know.
Or elite tight ends or anything like that, and we're committed to running the ball. So I think Jordan Love's a decent start this week.
Yeah.
Okay, trade targets. This is the fun one that everybody likes to talk about.
Oh, Olave, buy low.
Yeah, a couple of really hot buy low options. I was having some fun throwing these guys in here this morning. Chris Olave, I think this could be the last week that you can buy low on Chris Olave. He had 2 weeks in a row of pretty uninspiring performances, and then finally got back to it this week, week 6, and had, I think it was 97 yards or something like that, almost 100 yards. Had something like 16 points or something like that, 16 PPR fantasy points, which is nice. And I think if you were to try and make a move on Chris Olave right now, you could get him for about as good as a discount as you can get right now.
This is perfect. But look at this game log.
Yeah.
Double-digit targets, and then he goes to single digits. And now he's back at doubles.
Yep. And if the owner of Chris Olave doesn't quite realize that he's back to that same target share, which he might not, this is probably going to be one of the last weeks that you're going to be able to get him for a cheap. And I would be targeting him for cheap because he's just heavily targeted, very talented. Anyways, another guy that is probably going to be your last week to get for cheap is Brandon Ayuk.
That would be amazing.
If you want to pull up to him too, he has really similar stat lines to Chris Olave in that he had a couple of down weeks, and then this week was starting to trend back upwards. He's still getting a lot of those looks. He got missed on a couple of really, really vital targets, and that would have put him well out of the buy low category, but he didn't hit them. So I think he's very much a hot buy low candidate right now. I'd be trying to get him everywhere. He's always open. He's so talented. Debo's not super healthy. Always open. Looks great. Getting a decent amount of targets.
They're playing the Vikings.
Yeah.
Bro.
Great matchup.
Great matchup for Brandon Ayuk. I've been a fan of Ayuk. ever since last year.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a very, very smart wide receiver. He's got that
Yeah.
game. I wouldn't say he's like physically like blowing the doors off of anyone, but the guy has that football IQ.
He's a great route runner.
Great route runner.
Good hands, great route runner, great at getting open.
Yep.
I want to try and get him this week. See what you can do. You might be able to package somebody cheaper for him, but we'll see. Last guy that I think you'll be able to get for the last opportunity to get him for cheap is Breece Hall. We've been talking about him a lot recently.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't quite had the explosion yet. He's looked really good, and if you look at his percentage of carries and the trends that he's taken, it's gonna happen very, very soon.
Mm-hmm.
He's about to have a massive game, and he's getting a lot of good looks. And if you watched him against the Eagles, you're like, oh my gosh.
I mean, he's averaging 6.5.
Yeah, which is great.
That's awesome.
And if you watch him against the Eagles, you're like,
I have him.
Yeah, you would have been like, wow, he was one missed tackle away from a massive run.
Yeah.
This dude is, a loose cannon. I love him. Gonna be a top 10 to top 7 potential.
Bro, they're playing the Giants.
Yeah, and he's playing the Giants. If you can snack him this week, it's gonna be the last week because he's gonna go off against the Giants.
Yeah. And it's his bye week, so he'll be rested up.
Yeah.
Oof.
So get him right now because it's the last week. They're gonna be able to get him, and then he's gonna go off.
Mm-hmm.
So that last opportunity for Breece Hall. We've been saying it all year. Get him. Another fun one that I think is going to surprise a couple of people is Puka Nacua. So there's a lot of people talking about how they were so worried about Puka Nacua when Kupp comes back, and everybody's like, I don't really know. He's not really. Should I sell him right now? Should I sell him right now? And everybody was like, yeah, get rid of him. And then some people were like, nope, just hold him. It'll be fine. The first week Kupp comes back, he was good. He was still not what he had been before, but he was still serviceable, very serviceable. And then people still didn't really seem to be buying into that fully, that he was going to be decent enough to have with Kupp there. And then this week happens, Kupp goes crazy, and Puka Nacua didn't quite do it. He had a couple of really crucial drops. One was a 20-yard pass into the end zone that would have been a great touchdown. Had it in his arms and just didn't come down with it.
Wait, does he have a brother in the NFL? There's another Nacua, and he's on the Colts.
Is it really?
Guys. Okay, hang on. Here's Puka Nacua, averaging 12 yards per target. Really, really great stats. The guy is he's from BYU. He's a good Mormon boy.
I think you might be able to catch a couple
still
people.
7 targets, averaging 6.5.
That's the thing.
Great. These
That's
are
the
great
thing.
stats.
You might be able to catch some people panicking on him.
That I might want to test the nerve of the Nacua manager.
Says, there's audio
hey,
on
look
audio.
at you saw Kupp coming back.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
That's weird. You might be able to catch a couple of panicking fantasy owners who are trying to get rid of him real quick because they're freaking out that he had a really bad game and Kupp didn't have a really bad game. I would try and grab him. I think that this week was an anomaly, and if you can take advantage of those people with trigger fingers, I'm snatching him up.
I think this was just a matter of feed the ball to Kupp, get Kupp's.
Oh yeah, and don't get me wrong, it will continue to be that.
Yeah.
Kupp will continue to be.
But against the
uncontested
Cardinals,
--
it's if there's a game to do that to kind of pump up your receiver, it's against the Cardinals.
and they're playing Pittsburgh.
I'm going
this
to do a
week.
wardrobe change. You keep on talking.
Rams are playing Pittsburgh this week, which is another really nice matchup for wide receivers. Don't get me wrong. Like I was saying, Kupp is going to be the undisputed number one guy. He's just that dude. But if you can go out and grab Puka Nacua for a cheaper, amount right now from a panicking fantasy owner, he's a pretty boy.
I'm a pretty boy right now.
Wardrobe
pretty.
change.
I'm feeling pretty.
I would try and grab Nacua real quick.
Yep.
So
Should we sell these shirts? Hang on. Should we sell these shirts? Should we offer this to the people?
Dude, I mean,
Sell them at cost. They're $20 a piece.
if
We make no money.
If we can get Purdy back into action,
Purdy's back. Purdy's back.
He had a pretty tough week against the.
He did. Look, everyone, I heard it put well on Good Morning Football, and I agree. And this is Kyle Trask was talking about it. Shout out to Kyle Trask.
Love him.
Brock Purdy is an AI, and so he had to power down for a little bit,
I see.
and now he's going to
I
reboot.
see.
Yeah, he just had to download an update.
Okay.
So
that makes
yeah.
sense. That makes sense. He did. It was a tough game.
Yeah.
Rainy weather, good defense.
Yeah.
I get it.
There you go.
Sell high targets candidates right now.
Mm-hmm.
This one I could see us getting flamed a little bit on here. And it's
How dare
just
you.
because of this number one, which is Raheem Mostert, the number 2 or 3 running back overall in fantasy right now. And
Guys,
you may be
sell
asking
your
yourself,
studs. You're
you may be asking yourself, why the hell would I sell high on the number 3 running, maybe number 2 running back in all of fantasy football right now?
Mm-hmm.
Here's why.
Why?
The emergence of Devon Achane was happening, and we saw Mostert's work trending the wrong direction with Achane going up. He will be coming back in a couple of weeks, not immediately. So you have some time with Raheem Mostert if you really want to hold on to him. Now, hang on, there's more to this. Okay. I've been thinking about this.
Okay.
Achane will be back, and that will, he'll step back into his thing if he's, healthy again. And Jeff Wilson Jr. is now also there, and he's performing decently well. So those 2 guys are going to be there. They're going to start coming back. They're going to do what they did to Mostert for 2 weeks, I believe it was 2 weeks in a row, where he was, pretty mediocre. And then obviously, the injuries happened and he went up back to being crazy. And if you look at it, his bye week is coming up, and then after that has a brutal fantasy running back schedule.
Yeah.
And that's during fantasy playoff time. So I think if you could pull up his game, can you pull up his
like the Miami
Dolphins schedule?
Yeah.
Because the last 4 games of the year for Raheem Mostert are tough.
Yeah. Pulling it up right now. Yeah, but so like our last 4 of the year like fantasy relevant, you think?
Well, I don't mean last 4 games of the year. I mean last 4 of the fantasy year, which would be playoffs games 1, 2, 3, and the championship.
Dude, ESPN fixture website.
Like very crucial games, and he is going to have a tough time.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. We got it.
Yeah. Okay, so show me, weeks. All right, so right there, 12, 13, 14, 15. We got Jets. Washington's easy, but he goes extremely hard against the Jets. Decent game against Washington. Extremely hard against the Titans. Extremely hard against the Jets again. And then who's their last one? Dallas and then Baltimore.
Baltimore, yeah.
Like, that is about as hard as a schedule as you can get for a running back.
That's difficult.
And that is a running back that is going to have high competition coming in off of injuries around that same time.
Yep.
I think right now you can get a couple more weeks of really good work out of Raheem Mostert, and then you're going to want to sell high. So this is a really early sell high target. But right now, you could be selling him at the number 2 overall fantasy running back spot. Like, you could get a big name for him.
Well, if you could package him up and get Breece Hall, who has a
I
much
think
better
you could
schedule.
get way more than Breece Hall for Raheem right now. Yeah,
Puka Nacua and Breece Hall for Raheem Mostert.
Honestly,
I would do that trade.
Honestly, like he's the number 2 in running back of all football. Like, it's Christian McCaffrey and Raheem Mostert. Like, you could get a lot out of him. Another guy that's been a little bit of a fantasy darling recently is Jerome Ford. I think his schedule is going to be getting tough as well, and Kareem Hunt is there, and he's been looking really good.
Yeah,
and,
I've heard that. Yeah.
They're having some struggles on the offensive side of things, and their quarterback's injured. Running back room is now becoming a little ambiguous. I think we see Jerome Ford start to trend down a little bit. Not a super easy schedule coming up, and I would love to sell him right now.
Yep.
It's not his absolute peak, so you're not going to be getting top value for him, but I think you can get a decent amount for him right now.
Yeah. Are we going all in on Julio Jones?
Yeah, shout out Julio Jones. Just got signed to the Eagles, if you missed that. Literally 3 hours ago.
34 years young, Julio Jones.
Wow.
Ring chasing.
Shout out him, though. He deserves one.
He deserves it.
Another wide receiver, speaking of wide receivers, Jalen Waddle, great week this week. Outside of that,
You don't like Jalen Waddle.
well, here's the thing. I really do. I really do like Jalen Waddle.
You don't like him on your team, though.
No.
Ah.
I really like Jalen Waddle. I loved him going into the year. I was like, it's going to be Tyreek and Jalen Waddle all day. Jalen Waddle just hasn't really performed the way that I want him to. Last year he was putting up 30, 40-point games here and there, and he's just not doing it this year. However, he had a really good week 6. I think he caught a touchdown and was getting some decent targets. I can't see that continuing super steadily just because Tyreek is there, and Tyreek is incredible. They're also working out a couple more wide receivers. I'm not saying Chase Claypool is going to be any kind of threat, but he is there, so be aware of that.
Okay.
I don't think that'll impact him too much, but they are still looking around at wide receivers, and Jalen Waddle hasn't really produced that well. So I would be happy to sell him for maybe another wide receiver that's underperforming that will trend the opposite direction, like a Devonta Smith potentially.
Yeah.
Devonta Smith has been real slow. I think if you can 1-for-1 Jalen Waddle for Devonta Smith, that'd be incredible. Love
Yeah,
it.
right now he is averaging 17.7% of the targets on the Dolphins.
Which is not bad.
It's not bad. So, again, we're in sell high territory.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
see
not
their
bad
strength
target
of
share.
schedule. Week 7's a juicy matchup against Philly. Then we're looking at Week 8 against New England. So, it's got some interesting matchups here. But then you go to the Jets, and then Tennessee and Jets, and then Dallas and Baltimore. Again, same thing with Raheem Mostert.
Tough finishing schedule.
So I would personally hold on to Waddle up until like Week 9, but like use your time now to start promoting, like talking shit to your fantasy text group, saying, "Man, guys, Waddle's absolutely gonna like teabag you."
Yeah,
and then watch him put up double-digit points. And so then in 2 weeks you can come up with that package deal, sell Jalen Waddle high before he goes to the Jets and puts up 2 points.
Yeah. I can see that happening.
Yeah.
I would love to get rid of him. The final guy that I am not a fan of, never have been a fan of him.
Yeah, me neither.
He's very athletic, but
he was great in camp.
Oh boy, was he great in camp. Man, did you see that one-handed catch? Like,
one-handed catches, man.
George Pickens, man.
Get out of here.
Had a great week.
Get out of my face.
A great week.
Yeah.
Right. Had a great week. I would love to move on from him. If you've got him, man, go get somebody decent right now. Take advantage of that one guy who chases big weeks, because every league has that one guy who chases the big weeks. Give him George Pickens and get somebody decent and more consistent out of it. Kenny Pickett, not really that great. He's been banged up. And the week that George Pickens has, been performing is with Deontay Johnson out and Pat Freiermuth out. Both of those guys are going to be back this week. So
yep.
If you don't sell him this week, you might not be able to sell him at all.
Yeah. He's very streaky. Yeah. He does get 25% of targets, but
that's with Deontay Johnson out and with Pat Freiermuth basically in and out the whole time. So he's been the only guy, but he's not going to be the only guy anymore. And now we see Jalen Warren getting a lot more work in the receiving game. His target share is going to be increasing. I really think everybody else is going up, which means George Pickens has to come down a little bit at least.
And they've got a tough schedule in the immediate future. So this is one of those quick trades like, hey, George Pickens just had a decent game, or this last game was bad, right?
I think it was decent.
No. Against Baltimore. So they won against Baltimore. That's fine.
And then the week before that, he got that one long touchdown. So I'm moving on from him if I can, just because everything is trending the wrong direction.
In PPR, he had a monster game. So he had a 26.6 points in PPR. And then he's got 3 just gnarly teams. I mean, Jacksonville may or may not be an easy game. Everyone thinks that these easy games are going to be easy, and they never are.
Right.
And leave it to Pittsburgh to make an easy game difficult.
Oh, yeah,
okay?
they will.
Remember this, Yinzers, okay? And then you got Tennessee, but then you got Green Bay, and you got Cleveland, and you got Cincinnati. So these are not going to be cakewalks.
Yeah, Green Bay and Cleveland specifically are very good secondaries.
Yeah.
That's going to be tough.
Also, there's been, I think there's some front office drama with the Steelers. I mean, it's not a year in football without front office drama with the Steelers. But yeah, so I think that's going to be happening too. So there's going to be a slight disruption there.
Yeah.
Who else is having front office problems? The Panthers.
They
Frank
actually
Reich.
just handed off offensive coordinator duties. Frank Reich just handed it off to whoever the other guy was. Which I think is good. That's great. If you're a Miles Sanders owner, if you're an Adam Thielen owner, not that you've been struggling with Adam Thielen, but I mean, if you own Panthers shares, I think that's a good thing because their play calling is disgusting.
I can't get rid of Miles Sanders, and
you're not going to be able to.
I think I'm stuck with him now.
But
forever.
This is a ray of, it's a silver lining.
I hope
potentially.
So. My God, do I hope so.
Yeah. We'll see. That's all I got for trade targets and waiver targets.
Not bad.
Keep an eye on the running back situations in San Francisco and in I can't even think of the other one. What was I just talking about? Can we go back to waiver targets for 1 second? I'm blanking. I'm ill today, so I'm blanking on a lot of stuff.
Not in a good way.
Yeah, can you take us back there real quick?
Take us back, BJ.
Yeah.
It's okay. So good. Other way.
Other way.
Oh,
Don't
see.
look at that. There you go. Okay.
There you go. Do we miss injuries?
Oh, in San Francisco and in Detroit, because we don't really know who the starters are going to be there.
Yeah.
Don't know who number 1 is. Keep an eye on that. Good luck on waivers.
Where do the injuries go? Do we do injuries yet?
No, we do it on Thursday.
Thursdays. Okay.
Yeah.
Look,
So
then
we'll talk about
I
injuries
got
on
to say
Thursday.
it. I got to say it.
Go ahead.
Okay. You got to look at AOC. AOC's in play. Now listen here, boys and girls.
No, he's
Okay.
not.
All right.
Man, how can you say that? He looked so bad against who did they play? The Steelers? No. Who did he look awful against? Where he
it
had
was
like 5 fumbles or whatever.
why can I not find Aiden?
Man, I am not on board with the Aiden O'Connell train. I know you're a Raiders fan, so I get it. I would be shouting that out too.
Aidan O'Connell.
Yeah.
Aidan, not A-D-E-N. Aiden O'Connell. Look, now here's Josh or Adam's gonna hate this,
Yeah.
but look, AOC. First of all, Jimmy G cannot be a quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah,
He's
and
just not
he got
physically
hurt.
capable.
Yeah, I already went to a hospital.
He went to the hospital. They did back MRIs. Apparently,
Has his back blown out.
His back's going to be fine. Yeah, he's got someone's got to get their back blown out. He said he's going to be fine, but back injuries can be weird.
Oh yeah.
Just ask Tony Romo. They can linger for years.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Jimmy G will ever be the same. I think it's sunset on Jimmy G. Unfortunately, I do like him as a person, but it's time for AOC. So if you need, especially this week, if you need a freaking quarterback, and you're absolutely if you're a Stroud boy or you're a Purdy boy and you need a quarterback, you got to go with one. Go with Aiden O'Connell.
Nope.
Week 7 against the Bears, boys.
It's a good matchup. I'll give you it's a good matchup.
I'm telling you. Okay?
That being said, I would take 20 other quarterbacks.
Who would you
over
take? Who would you take? Okay, if you're someone who had Stroud and Purdy, and they're both not playing,
Yeah.
Who do you stream?
I mean, shoot, I'm rolling out either Jordan Love. I'm looking at Dobbs. I'm looking at Stafford's probably on the waiver wire somewhere. That'd be awesome.
Stafford would be a much better get than AOC.
Honestly, I would even consider like Bryce Young over him.
Man, shut up.
Like,
That's disrespectful. That is disrespectful.
there's a lot of options.
He's just mad because we beat the Packers.
That's true.
Look,
I'm a little
the
upset
Raiders
about
are
that.
not good. They're always playing from behind. We are not a good team this year. But that said, we do know how to put down some yards in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
All of
That's
our
true.
games are exciting to watch because you don't know if it's going to suck or not. But yeah, AOC, it's time.
Yeah.
It's time. He is the best propane salesman. He looks like Hank Hill.
He does. He does not look like an NFL player whatsoever.
Let's
If you got to roll out AOC this week, shout out. Speaking of shout out, follow us on Twitter. We're at FantasyBLTZ, pretty active on there too. So hit us up there. Be sure if you're new here, which I would imagine most of you are, considering we're a pretty small
Look at this guy.
channel.
Look at this fierce son of a bitch. Look at you.
Hey, I'm trying to do our shout out here.
Oh, sorry. Anyway.
If you're new here, which most of you probably are because we're a small channel, subscribe to us. We're live Tuesdays and Thursdays at around 4:00 each day. Doing waiver wire targets, trade targets. We're doing start and sits. We're doing injury updates. We post shorts all the time. Like we're
do it all.
we're grinding this thing out.
And
Studio upgrades are here. I know we're having some technical difficulties today. I'm having some physical difficulties today.
physicality, I'm having some spiritual difficulties today.
Yep. We're all suffering.
We're all
but
suffering.
We can suffer together. So subscribe, like.
Yeah, you can suffer through our content together by subscribing and hitting that notification bell. We will be active in the chat when this episode goes live.
Yep.
So put in your requests like, hey guys, how should I set my lineup? We will absolutely 100% respond to you. Comment on this video. Comment on who you think is going to be going to the Super Bowl. I want to see your Super Bowl predictions. I think we're going to have to make a Super Bowl prediction video.
Yeah. I'm still standing by my Eagles-Bengals pick.
Eagles-Bengals?
Bengals got to whip it up, but Eagles are good, man.
You're not wrong. I can't not see Dolphins and Niners. Dolphins, Niners. They're just hot right now.
That's the other pick, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, let us know who's going to the Super Bowl.
Appreciate y'all. Remember, Fantasy Blitz, no BS, just Blitz.
See you Thursday.